Hello and welcome to HakSploit. On this session we're just going to give you a quick overview of the Kali Linux distro. If you joined us on our last session, we installed it and basically did the basic setup for Kali Linux. Today we're just going to have a quick look at the software and just see what it comes with. Like most Linux distributions, you've got the applications menu, which has got accessories, graphics, internet, office, etc, etc. But with Kali you get an extra option here. Within here we've got lots of different areas, different menus, which contains different programs. They're all sort of packaged into their sort of area, so anything to do with information gathering, as we can see, is under information gathering, vulnerability analysis, web applications, passwords, attacks. So we'll just quickly go through each of the sections and just explain what's in there. Top 10 security tools. This gets updated every now and again when you do an update on the system, but these are basically the top 10 applications that Kali thinks will be used on a sort of day-to-day basis when you're trying to do penetration testing. There are a few applications which aren't in here, which I would have expected to see, but the main ones are in there. You've got Aircrack, the Burp Suite, John the Ripper, the Metasploit framework, Nmap obviously, and Wireshark. Under information gathering we've got a varied selection of different tools, so DNS analysis. I'm not going to go into great detail exactly the tools that are in there. You'll see them in sessions to come. I'm just sort of wanting to give you an idea as to what tools you actually get with this suite. Sorry, back to where we were. So DNS analysis, anything to do with analysing the DNS is in there. Intrusion detection and prevention system identification, live host identification, network scanners, operating system fingerprinting, etc, etc. The usual sort of tools you would probably use to analyse the network. For those of the people that don't know about penetration testing even, usually before you would do a penetration test you try and gather as much information as possible about your target. These are the tools you would probably use. There are others out there, that the majority, to be totally honest, about 90% of the tools that you would come across are actually as part of the suite. Next area we go on to is vulnerability analysis. So these are basically tools that you would then use once you've identified your target. Obviously you would have to gain access to the network if you're doing it on a network related. If it's web, obviously you use it against a web server. So the vulnerability analysis stuff is to analyse any vulnerabilities on the system. So we've got Cisco tools, database tools, fuzzing tools, MISC scanners, so you've got like Nmap and Zenmap in there. They come under vulnerability analysis. Nmap is more of a sort of network mapping tool. It does do vulnerability obviously, as it shows you open ports. So for example, a system that's got an open port, it allows you to then see which ports are open and see if there's any vulnerabilities around that specific port. Moving on, web applications, obviously database stuff, application fuzzers, application proxies, web crawlers, passwords attacks. Obviously these are split into two sort of areas, well sorry, four, but the main ones are sort of the offline attacks and the online attacks. Obviously in passing the hash tools as well. Wireless attacks. So there's quite a varied amount of wireless attacks in here actually. You've got wireless networks, but you've also got Bluetooth and then near field communication tools and RFIDs. Not really played with many of them tools in there, to be totally honest, but I can imagine they're pretty cool. So we've now got onto the network and we're now wanting to exploit it. So we've got some exploration tools here. Obviously the main ones that I will use myself is obviously Metasploit. Social engineering toolkit is also a really good one. We'll probably go into that in another video as well as going through Metasploit. Sniffing and spoofing, so network sniffers, network spoofers. There's also some VoIP tools that are included, which is pretty cool. Maintaining access, so that's setting up your backdoors, etc, etc. Some really good tools in there for doing that. And also web backdoors. Never really played with them a lot, but I can imagine they're good. Reverse engineering, so this is where Kali has sort of moved on from Backtrack, which is the old sort of version. Now there was reverse engineering in Backtrack, but Kali is now more than just a penetration testing toolkit. It's also a forensics toolkit, so you get reverse engineering in here. So you can basically reverse engineer code for doing, for example, virus analysis, malware analysis. Also reverse engineering software to try and find vulnerabilities and bugs in it. So you've got a couple of debuggers, some disassembly tools, and then just some sort of MISC tools there. Stress testing, so this sort of can do sort of like DDoS attacks, stuff like that, to test the network to see, you know, if you can push so much bandwidth down it, will it support it, etc., etc. VoIP testing, obviously, and web testing. Hardware hacking, that's more around sort of Android toolkits and Arduino boards. Again, I've not really touched it, but there may be other people that have. If you have, post in the comments and let us know what you thought of them. And then the forensic toolkit, basically loads of stuff to do with forensics in there, antivirus forensics. There isn't a lot in there actually, antivirus forensics, but anyway, there's a lot of different areas anyway. Analysis tools, huge amount there. You've got your carving tools, hashing tools, image tools, forensic suites, network forensics. Never use a network forensics tool, but can imagine it's pretty cool. Password, chunt, obviously. And then reporting tools. This is quite a good thing. This allows you, when you are doing penetration testing, to basically manage your evidence. So within it, you can obviously go through doing the pen test, but then there's reporting tools, so you can directly use the tools within it to sort of keep all your information, so that at the end you will then do your reports. And then the system services, such as that, obviously Metasploit, you can turn it on, turn it off, MySQL, the same sort of things. So they're pretty much the sort of tools that you get with it. Not a lot really more to say than that. What I would say is obviously update and upgrade as much as possible. A lot of these tools, because you've got so many in there, will be updated. So the more you update, the more you upgrade. I mean, you don't have to do it every single day, obviously, but you know, once a week, just do a quick update, upgrade, and that'll sort of really help you out. Now, this was just a really brief overlook of it. Next session, we're going to move into one of the tools. Not decided which one yet. Probably Aircrack, something like that, the Aircrack suite. But we'll move into that in the next session. But I hope you enjoyed that. Any questions, any comments, just drop them at the bottom. And I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.